Welcome back to New Little Life. If you're new here, my name is Allison Tolman. I'm an IBCLC and a breast pump expert, and we've been talking about breast pumps on this channel for a long time. That is our main focus here at New Little Life. We've actually tested over 100 breast pumps on our BPVMS over here, our booby barometer as you like to call it. And today we're going to be talking about a breast pump that I can't remember why I bought it, but it is an excellent example of what not to do in a wearable pump. I do have a favor to ask of you if you're watching this video. If you have used an inexpensive pump, an off-brand or something maybe that's not as popular, whether you liked it or hated it, will you please put it in the comment section? The comments of these videos are so helpful, not only for me to explore new pumps, but also for other moms who are considering pumps, trying them out, and I love hearing from you. So if you have a pump similar to what we've talked about today, or if you learned something new today that you're like, oh, I never even thought of that, please put it in the comments for me. I would love to hear from you. So this is the S18, I think it is. I can't even find it in my Amazon history anymore because it is no longer available. Although I've seen several other models like this from other companies like Sayorg or Mama Home, which is kind of random out there. You can get it for $30 on eBay. It was pretty cheap on Amazon. I think I paid $64 on Amazon when I got it, which is annoying. $25 on AliExpress. Anyway, you're probably not going to buy this pump. At least I hope you don't, but it's going to be a really interesting conversation about what to look for, especially if you are in the market for a less expensive wearable pump. If you're wanting to try something kind of cheap, either you have a really small budget or you're just kind of wanting to test something out first. I want to use this pump to talk through bad things, okay? And the things that you sometimes get in less expensive pumps. So if you are looking for a less expensive pump, you can use this to kind of deep dive into the pump you're looking for, because there's no way that I can review all of the off-brand and cheap pumps out there. So you're going to have to learn how to do a little digging into the pump and see if it's has any of these red flags. If it doesn't, it might be worth a try, especially if it's cheap, right? I have actually a couple of cheap pumps in my closet that I'm like, it's kind of loud, it's a little bulky, but like it actually works and clients are fine with it. So again, this is going to be a great video, not necessarily reviewing this pump in particular because it's not very popular, not very many people are looking for this, but more how to evaluate a wearable pump, especially one that may be inexpensive, to see if it's even going to work how you want it to. Also, there's going to be a lot of links in the description for you. There's going to be a free resource on choosing a wearable pump. It's a quiz. That'll be really fun. We have a free course on how to choose a breast pump if you're looking for just for one in general. We also have some DIY courses on how to pump efficiently, how to master your milk supply, and if you are going back to work, how to do that and protect your supply while you do that. So lots of good resources down in the description for you. Okay, so this pump, I don't even know where to start with it because there's just a lot going on here. I think the first thing is that I actually tried to look up my Amazon order history to see like what the brand and like some more information on this pump, and it's no longer listed. I only bought it 6 months ago. That is a risk that you run when you do off-brand pumps, or just anyone can take a patent or a design, especially if they have the money for it. They can slap their name and colors and branding on it and they can get it manufactured and they can start selling it. And that's why we see so many kind of obscure brand or just like random pumps pop on the market. The issue with that is that they sometimes don't stay in the market very long. So to find replacement parts for this pump is impossible. Okay, you will never be able to find replacement parts, which is a bummer because these parts are not standard. So here is the back flow protector. It's like a rectangle shape. You will have to have that specific one. The bottle, for one, has these like little screw things. I don't know what that's for because it doesn't screw on, and it's not very secure either, which is again another downside of cheap pumps. It also has this little ring. Okay, it's a soft little ring. I'll put it on my shirt so you can see it. If you lose that, you are going to be leak city. Okay, and again, you're not going to be able to replace it. So make sure that you can find replacement parts for your pump. If you're worried about it, first see if they even exist, because a lot of companies like this that are doing this don't even bother to make replacement parts. So if they have no replacement parts, huge red flag. If they do have some and you're worried that the company might not hang around, maybe buy a bunch. I don't know. Again, then you kind of run the risk, is this actually cost effective to do this anymore? That backflow or that valve here is going to be proprietary to this too. You're going to have that same one. All right, so I don't love that silicone ring, although it's going to reduce leaking, which is good, I guess. Again, this just like snaps on and it is not secure. It's just another risk that you run with things like this. So I'm sorry, there's so many things about this pump that are huge red flags for me. Okay, let me see if I can I need to put this back on so you can see the shape of this. Oh, it doesn't even fit together well. Freaking whatever. Okay, so can you see the shape here? I think that, you know, was intended to be like, oh, it's a breast shape, but this is not going to fit well on a breast. I can already tell that because breasts are not like hamburger shaped, I guess, if that makes sense. So pretty odd there. Also, I'm going to do my best to show you this here. Inside the tunnel, there are these holes right here. Can you see all, there's like 5 holes right there. Your nipple is going to be rubbing on those holes every time the suction pulls, okay? That's how the milk is going to get down into the container, okay? Is that any easier? You see those holes there? That's where the milk's going to go down, but your nipple's going to be rubbing on that, or your areola if you don't have a good flange size, which is also going to be really hard to do with this pump, and it is not going to feel good. This tunnel is also really, really short, okay? So you are either going to have the perfect flange size, which again is going to be hard. I'll talk about that in just a second. It's very short, okay? You have no room for error there. So this is a 24 size shield. It came with this 21 size, I don't even want to call it an insert. It's just like a random thing. But look how short this is. Can you even see it on the screen? Okay. A nipple at rest might be this long. Like the nipple is definitely going to extend past that. And if 21 is the only size that you can do here, like there was no other sizes that it came with, that's going to be too big for most. We actually teach how to do self flange sizing inside of our Pumping Efficiently course because your flange size changes, so you're probably going to have to do that skill more than once. So we like to teach you how to do it. So that's there for you, but you can't use any other style of flange insert with this because of those holes. It will cover up the holes, any other insert, and now the milk won't go down. Like I've been working with pumping moms for years. Gosh, 70%, 80% even maybe are smaller than a 21. 21 is another common size, and then 24 I see sometimes, but most of them are smaller than that, and there is no option for this. So if you're looking at a pump, you need to make sure that the flange sizing options are available. Either it comes with the pump or the inserts will be available. And sometimes you do have to look at the design of a pump to see if inserts will work. I can guarantee all of the generic Maymom inserts that you get on your other pumps will not work on this. It will cover up those holes and the suction will not work properly. Okay, so this design, absolutely awful. And this is just kind of what you get. It can be hard to look at a new pump and evaluate it and figure out, is this going to work? The angle, there's just so many things to look at when you're looking for a high quality pump, which is why we do so many reviews on our channel. And then, oh my gosh, I keep going on random soapboxes, but I figured that's what this video would be. It's also not only the pump, it's how you use it. And that is a thing I wish more moms knew. Like you can buy the best pump on the market, and it may not work well. Like you may not be able to get all the milk out. And again, it's not because of the pump, it's because of how you're using it. Wearables too, in general, are complicated to use. They are inherently less efficient because of how they sit at the breast. There's always compression there. You have to get the bra fit right. You have to get the flange sizing right. It's even harder on a wearable than it is on traditional pumps, which moms are still struggling to figure out. That's why we teach you how to do it. The lack of intuition when you're using a wearable pump, you're just sticking it in your bra and going about your day. These are not good things for effective milk removal. And if you leave milk behind, your supply will suffer. And that's what we see with a lot of wearables. Again, not that wearables are bad. Like they definitely have a place and you can learn to use them effectively and we can teach you. But a lot of moms are just kind of like guessing and winging it. And that's where we see milk supply struggles. Sometimes it's a pump. If you have this pump, which you probably don't, it's not very popular, it's the pump. Like this is just the worst side. Okay, I got sidetracked, sorry. The angle too of this shield, so you've got this funny shape here, right? But then it's like almost a 90-degree into the tunnel. Does that make sense? So you've got this, and then it's a sharp, like it's a corner right here. That's not gonna feel good, okay? Let me see if I can show you a little. So you've got up, and then it's a sharp corner here to back, all right? That's not gonna feel great on your on your breast tissue. So if you've been on this channel for a while, you'll notice that this style kind of looks like the LV, all right? And we had leaking problems with the LV for a while. I think they've fixed a lot of those, although the LV was just bought out by Willow in 2025, so those pumps are gonna kind of be doing something funny, I imagine. But this design does leak. The container is small, okay? So any kind of movement, you're gonna get milk up in that connection piece, okay? It does have that little silicone ring, so don't lose that, or it's gonna be even worse, but you're not gonna be able to move very much with this pump. I will say, this pump is very, very thin, okay? One of the, if not the thinnest pump I have in my closet. That's not always a good thing. Again, that tunnel is so flippin' short and you're not gonna be able to size it right. It's gonna be a problem. I actually had a comment on the YouTube channel the other day that was like, what is the quietest and the most discreet wearable pump out there? I don't want anyone to know I'm pumping. And I had to reply back to her and say, that's not a thing. Like, you have a machine in your bra. Like, it's going to make some noise and it's going to be bigger. You know what I mean? Like, what you're asking for is you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to be able to express milk and you want nothing to be happening, or you want no one to know, or like totally silent, not noticeable. Like, that's just not reality. And I feel like we're moving so much further and further away from the biological norm, you know, which is like that you're feeding the baby at the breast. And I get it. Like, you don't have to feed your baby at the breast. Some moms can't. Some moms got to go to work. There's a million reasons. And that's why we teach about pumps here. Like, I want you to be able to feed your baby the way you want and in control. Like, we're getting further and further. And I feel like wearable pumps are bridging this gap between, like, I need time and space to express my milk, to now we're almost expecting moms to do it all. Like, I want you to be able to keep working. I want you to be able to do the dishes, fold the laundry, go on the walks with your baby, all while you're also pumping milk. That's not, okay, now I'm on a huge soapbox again, sorry. But anyway, you don't have to do it all the time, okay? And sometimes the thin discrete causes other problems, like in this case. We haven't even talked about the programming and suction capabilities of this pump, which I feel like is, at this point, a moot point. But I have seen some really cheap pumps online saying that they go to 380 mmHg, and I usually buy them because, for one, I doubt it. And like, this pump doesn't even get to, like, this one I can barely get to 200, which is probably okay, but not awesome. So for one, the marketing is usually always not true. And two, 380 mmHg is a lot of suction to put on a nipple. I would never put that much suction on my nipple. This one has 4 modes. Again, they're kind of weird. You've got massage mode, which is stimulation mode, is what they're calling it. Nipple pulling, that is literally what the mode is called. That would be expression mode on this pump. You have vibration and suction. And then you have soothing mode. Can't even tell you what all these modes are, but this one is vibration and suction. It's kind of like a mixed mode. So it's doing some short pulls, 4 or so, and then a long pull, okay? Again, I have this on the max section on all these modes just because I think it's funny. But listen to this one. Can you hear the motor even changing at the end? Like, this is such a low quality motor that it's struggling to even do what it needs to do. Oh my gosh, I would never put this on my breast. Can I just tell you that? This is regular expression mode, nothing fancy. Again, I cannot get it even to 200. You're gonna max out the suction on a pump like this. So the programming is just wonky. It's gonna be hard. So, and these are the things that are being marketed, is like, we have multiple modes, we have like soothing mode, which sounds awesome. Like, I want to be soothed. But that was that one where the motor was like, and then silent and came back down. That's not soothing. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do. So anyway, companies do like to name modes in ways that make it seem lovely. And again, that's marketing, smart marketing for you guys. But you have to kind of look beyond the marketing, look beyond what you see. And sometimes you get really hung up on this one thing, like, I need the most discreet option, which honestly is this. I have never seen a pump so trim. This is not a good pump, okay? And so be open-minded, be able to see what is actually there, what is most important to you. If it's discreetness, you might have to pay more for that. Like, you're not gonna find that in a $30 to $60 pump. You're just not. Again, if companies are selling pumps for $30, what do you think it costs them to make it? All right. That doesn't always translate. Like I saw, I don't want to name names, but like the Lancino, one of their wearables, it's like a $250 pump. And I'm like, I would never pay that for this. It's just wild. Like, I don't know how much it cost them to make, but no. You also need to take into account the motor life. So a cheap pump it's not going to last long. You might have to buy more than one. And especially if you actually like this pump or if it works okay for you, which would be shocking to me, there's no replacement parts. So you might just have to buy a new one if you need replacement parts, which again, at $30, $50 may not be a huge deal. And sometimes replacement parts are even that much for other pumps. But I mean, this pump isn't going to work well. I can just tell you that just because I've played with so many pumps. There's a lot of things to consider there. So I hope that was helpful. I really loved this pump for the fact that it gave us a lot of things to talk about when you're looking for a wearable pump. So when you're looking for more well-known brands or pumps that are better designed, a lot of the things we talked about in this video become non-issues because these companies are more aware. And then we have to dive more into what are the actual capabilities, limitations. We can have actual conversations about how they're different and better. But I think specifically if you're looking for off-brand or inexpensive wearable pumps, I hope this gave you some ideas on what to look for. Again, they're not always bad. And they can be a cheap way to just kind of jump in and say, hey, I want to try a wearable pump. So here we go. There's a few things to look at for you. And when you're evaluating, is this pump worth my money? Is it worth my time? But again, you're trusting your milk supply with a pump. So just be cautious. If you have no other pump that you can use as a backup, or if your baby is not feeding well at the breast, or if you are a brand new pumper, these are not things that I would recommend that you try. Actually, I would probably just stay away from wearables altogether until you get things better under control. There you go. I hope that was helpful. If you've tried an inexpensive pump that you really, really like, please put it in the comments. We would love to talk about it. I would love to buy some of those and review them and explore them, especially ones that have worked well for you. You can also put in the comments ones that have not worked well. Again, the comment sections of these videos are some of my favorite places to be and can really help other moms too when they're looking at pump. There you go. Tell me what was your favorite part? What was something that you learned in this video that maybe you didn't know? I would love to hear from you. All right. Good luck and happy pumping.